Hello there! In this episode, we will talk about three topics. Up first, we have world building. Up second, we have upset. Scheiße. Up second, we have setting, and then we have systems like power systems or systems that run a world. Before we begin with the talk, I want to talk about what actually is world building, what is the setting, and why are systems important for this discussion today. Should we start with the easiest one with world building?
Yes.
Well, it's how a world is built, basically. If you make a metaphoric picture, we have a puzzle, and the world building is the borders of a puzzle. And in the puzzle are stuff like stories, characters, and stuff.
Yes. Next one is setting. What's the setting?
Setting is kinda similar. You can think about it like when you have a theater play, it's the stage where the setting is. Setting is similar to genre, but not the same. For example, let's
Mm.
take Fragrant Flower. The genre is romance. The setting is a high school romance. You could also say the setting is a Romeo and Juliet story. Demon Slayer is not a historical manga in terms of genre, but its setting is a historical one because it's in what era is it again? You are a fan. Was it Taisho era?
Edo.
Edo.
What Hajo? I don't know. One of those.
We need to check and call him a fake fan again. Classic. Yes, but a setting is often a skin, I would say.
mm.
And why I want to talk about systems as well, because especially in stuff like fantasy and sci-fi, the systems to run the world. In cyberpunk, the technology runs the world and has influence on everybody's life. Same goes for fantasy with magic. Then, should we start?
Yes.
Up first, I have one of the most interesting questions. What kind of world do you like? Do you like stories which play in our real world, or do you like stories which play in a fantasy or fantastical world, which is not our real world? Depending on your answer, we're going to talk about this first. So, EL stuff or fantasy stuff?
To be honest, both are cool in some kind of way. Um, yes. The real world is nice when you can see stuff from the real world, animated. For example, Tokyo, when there's some destruction going on there in JJK.
Or seeing some
Th-
famous landmarks in general?
Yes, that's pretty neat, but also fantasy worlds because they are not real and they are looking gorgeous, a lot of them.
Yes, and in those worlds, you can emphasize the stuff that is not real and not just like in our world. You can have dragons, you
Mm.
can have flying mountains and stuff. A lot of different creatures, races. I would also say I like the fantasy worlds more because that's why I like to read stories, to read more unique stuff.
Yes.
Obviously, I also like real stuff. I study history, and historical is one of my favorite genres.
Mm.
Then, should we talk about what makes a fantasy world good, or what do we need to do if we want to make a good real world setting?
You can decide. Yeah, I'm down for both.
Then let's start with the fantasy one, because this one will probably be longer. Plus, there's a good example. You know which show I mean with a good example for a fantasy world, right?
Of course.
Then you
You
should
mean
guess.
Frieren?
Yes, Frieren is nice, but I meant something else.
One Piece, of course.
Yes, One
Then
Piece is the most known example.
yes.
What makes a One Piece world building good in your opinion?
In One Piece, especially.
Yes. It's the best example and most people know it, so it's probably the best example to bring our point across.
Um, in One Piece, yeah, the different isles are very cool. Um, yes, every island has a unique setting to it. It has specific seasons. They look all very good.
Yes, you have for
Nice
example
power. Yeah.
a horror island, a flying island up in the clouds, islands which are
Mm,
inspired by like Spain for example with Barcelona with Dressrosa, Wano with Japan. You also have
Venedig.
yes, you also have Venice. You also have some prehistorical islands with a little garden with dinosaurs.
Yes,
You also have
that's pretty neat.
how was it called again? That's Inferno with a prison where Ace was. Impel Down, that's
Ah,
the
yeah.
name. So
Yes, pretty neat to be honest. Those
creating a
islands
world
in
with a lot of different looking islands and places. Good step, good step. What also makes One Piece good for me in terms of world building is how it's connected. In certain ways, you have a kinda, let's call it butterfly effect. When the butterfly flaps its wings somewhere, tsunamis going on the second half of the world. And I think One Piece has some big things happening where something happens and the whole world is getting influenced. So the world is not stale.
yes.
Marineford, best example.
Mm,
A lot of ripples were going through One Piece with the worst generation, with Whitebeard's death, Ace's death.
yes. I mean, it all started in Sabaody, you could say,
Yes,
because Sabaody is the path the waypoint you have to get there to get to the new world.
yes. Sabaody is also a great example for how systems work, because nobility is also a system which you can use in this story with the how are the dragons called again? Celestial dragons,
Yes.
with a hierarchy system. Because when you end
Mm.
them, then well, shit's going to be bad.
You have the corrupted government that watches over the celestial dragons, and the normal citizens are just uh,
Well,
uh, yes,
it's also a great example how a great system can influence the world. What is especially great in One Piece is that we have a pirates and the world government opposing each other.
mm,
While yes, Luffy is technically a pirate, but at times he's working with pirates, with the world government, against the world government. If you remember, in early One Piece, there were some arcs where he worked at times with Marines. Smoker, for example, in Alabasta, where they had kind of a truce against the bigger enemy.
yeah, it's true, true.
Also, what is nice in One Piece is I like when we have fantasy worlds where different races are getting used. And One Piece is very diverse if you think about it.
Yeah, yeah. Fishmen, we have the Buccaneers, Giants.
The long
Great.
arm, long leg people, Lunarians,
Yes.
the sky people,
Mm,
a lot of different races. The people also look unique in One Piece besides different races. Like we have humans who are big chonkers, who are small guys. There are people who are randomly like 5 meters tall,
yes.
which makes the world also quite unique. I also like fishmen, it's probably the best example. If you have a different race, then this race obviously can struggle with certain aspects like racism. or just being a different race.
Hmm.
Because let's say it like that. Fishman Island was not a great arc. Besides the one point, the story about racism. This was good.
Hmm. Yeah.
So W
And
would have
Luffy when he defeated like 10,000 guys with one haki shot.
the flicks. So One Piece, one of the best examples for good world building.
Hmm.
You mentioned Frieren before, and right.
Yes.
It's also a great example if we have different races or different monsters, and a world influenced by magic, another system.
Yeah.
I like when the world's influenced by magic that you feel it or see it, and magic is used in everyday, well, exercises. That's what makes Frieren
Hmm.
great, when they have a slice of life thing when they're cleaning a beach, for example, searching for flowers, and doing just daily stuff with magic.
Yeah. True.
Which at Atelia is also a great example, kinda similar,
I don't know.
so you will know in April when it comes out. We'll probably watch it. Or I will torment you in the podcast for weeks. Yes, but Frieren is a nice fantasy world. It also has a bit of a medieval setting, even though it's not historical manga, obviously, but aesthetic wise, it's a medieval world. Which is typical for fantasy, but I think Inferior is done very well in the anime with scenic and establishing shots. The world really
Yes.
looks nice.
Yeah, they don't look like generic trash cities, CGI cities.
Or the copy pasted city, the
Yes.
Konosuba and everything else. From where did
Yeah,
the city spawn? Was it Konosuba or
I think so.
there are at least 5 isekais who use the same city?
Yes.
If you think about it, when someone creates an isekai, okay, I'm going to create a new world. I'm going to use the MC who looks like Kirito and 20 other people, and I'm going to use the same starting city. Then we use the same races, elves and dwarfs. That's it. Nicely done.
Mm. Control C, Control V.
Yes, how to make an isekai. Classic.
That's a good title for a highlight.
Yes. I mean, it's true,
Yes, it is.
but there are still some cool isekais. But it's kinda sad that isekais are like this.
Mm.
Because the focus of an isekai should be the other world, it should be its selling point. But we watch isekai like we eat fast food for comfort and always see the same world basically, with minimalistic
Yes.
differences.
Mm. There's less of um, uh, a new, fresh of breath in this genre, sadly.
Yes, a lot of recycling is being done,
Mm.
but recycling is also a good term. Because I have another example for a great fantasy world. One that you watched recently. It's Gachakuta. I think the best about Gachakuta is its world and its power system for trash.
Yes.
Looks completely unique, has a unique power system. It also has a nice message with don't throw all your stuff away,
Mm.
because a world can also carry a message. It's also a very rough and dark world because of certain scenes.
Yes, true.
Because if you establish that stuff can happen like this in your world, even to children, then you take it seriously. Let's say it like
Yeah.
that. Another great one is Doro, for example, in terms of
I know that
world
you
and
don't
message.
do. Mm.
So There are definitely a lot of great fantasy worlds.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about another aspects of fantasy world settings or systems?
Uh, I have a good example for a realistic world, to be honest.
If you don't have anything else for fantasy, we can switch to the realistic department.
Then what's your example for a realistic world?
Dandadan. I like
Yes, great one,
Dandadan's
great
world.
one.
Yes. I mean, it's basically just Tokyo, but still, it feels real.
What I like about Dandadan is really good if in terms of having a real world with, let's say, supernatural stuff in it, because it combines two settings. It combines the supernatural yokai horror theme with the alien sci-fi theme, which makes it very unique because I don't know a series who is similar to Dandadan in this specific field,
Mm,
combining horror with sci-fi.
true. Spirits and aliens is very, very, yeah, new, and it
Yes.
functions basically.
Yes. So you can also make a great world with combining already established things and making a fresh experience out of it.
Yes.
Also, good move, good move.
Mm,
I would say with Dandadan we can use it as well. In general, there's a new hype in the specifically shonen demographic. I think now we are in a supernatural type of world or Monster Hunter hype, like say it like that. Because every shonen is basically our world, Tokyo mostly,
mm,
with something supernatural, some monsters being there.
yes.
Chainsaw Man, JJK, Dandadan, Kaiju, the list goes on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's successful and we like most of those shows, so it's a classic
Yes.
to use our world and make something different because we still can relate because it's our world.
Yeah. But Fire Force is doing it a little different. It's basically kind of like a different version from our world, basically.
I would say it's a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, basically. But it
Another thing
functions.
which I wanted to ask you, how do you like post-apocalyptic worlds?
Um, Actually, I'm currently playing Fallout and I'm having fun with the apocalyptic world. It's so nice to explore what would happen if humanity got wiped out or almost got wiped out and everything is damaged, burned, and stuff. It's really, really cool. I like it.
It's one of my favorite mangas which I read currently is Eden. It's an endless world. Also, post-apocalyptic setting. What I find interesting about those settings is if you hit a switch when the apocalypse is happening, and all of the systems that we have are gone. For example, no more capitalism, no
Yes.
more democracy and stuff. Everything
Mm,
is gone. We need to start from square one. That makes it interesting.
yes.
There's, by the way, another post-apocalyptic show that you really like. That's why I wanted to ask you a question.
Post-apocalyptic.
It's in your top 10.
Uh, it's Darling in the Franxx.
Nope. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Dr. Stone.
Oh yeah, true, true.
Dr. Stone is a great example for an post-apocalyptic show with starting
Yes,
from square one.
true.
And which settings do you like for real world shows who have no supernatural stuff? So basically, which Roman setting do you like?
Um,
High
oh
school, college, and stuff like that.
no, I've seen too much of it. It's getting kind of bored. Like, those kind of stuff.
High school is kinda stale for me as well. But college is nice.
Yeah, college, true. That's not often used.
Yes, I've seen enough teenagers in
Yes.
anime and manga because, well, they are more shonen than seinen.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
also like romance stories in a historical setting, but that's a me thing as a history buff.
true. I like realistic worlds, to be honest.
Yes,
Like,
for romance, I would say the same.
it just feels natural, everything. The world has to feel natural, not just NPCs who just don't have eyes or something. Yeah. Or the food has to be looking good.
That's a
Like,
classic in anime and manga.
yeah. But
It's
it's a,
also nice if you have a realistic world when you have places or restaurants that you can see that you know or are real.
yes. I mean, obviously, copyright, so it's not the same, but it's kinda the same, but with a new looking logo and stuff.
Yes. The classic 10,000 Amazon copy things.
Hmm. Sometimes those are actually funny, to be honest.
Yes, yes. I also like when you put the date on like famous, let's say, places. Beaches of Tokyo, the sky tree, your name, staircase, stuff
Hmm.
like that. It's
The,
always a nice gacha moment.
yes. The phone box of Chainsaw Man got really popular because of Chainsaw Man.
Yes, I hit it as well.
That's actually funny.
True that, true that. But I also like to go back to before, and I also like shows who are in our real world where we have a secret. And we need to keep that secret, like Harry Potter, for example. So if you have something magical that the normal people can know it, like curses and JJK.
Oh yeah.
I always like that stuff, but I think it's rarely executed well.
Hmm.
Or at least I don't know an anime or manga on top of my head to execute it well. Besides Witcher Atelier, but that's a fantasy world. But the
Yes.
concept is the same.
Tokyo
So we
Ghoul
need more of
actually.
those.
You have
True,
ghouls
I
hiding
forgot about
in the
that.
darkness.
True that, I forgot about that. Great, good call, good call.
Hmm. It's kinda mysterious. Yeah.
Yes, you also have a lot of tension if a secret is getting revealed or not,
Hmm.
which is one of the biggest selling points. Do you have anything else for real worlds? Because I have another new talking point.
No, you can go on to the next point.
Okay. We've talked about good world building and what the series needs to do. When we can talk about bad world building, or bad systems, or bad settings, or settings that you don't like. I mean, I had a bit with high school romance before, but a bit more bad stuff.
Hmm.
Do you want to start or should I start?
You can start.
I don't like it when shows introduce a system and the system is worthless after like 10 episodes. Best example is power scaling stuff. We can use JJK again. The whole curse ranking system and ranking sorcerer system is worthless. They introduced it in season 3, and after 10 episodes, when how are they called? Jogo and Hanami spawn, the system is already worthless because they are too good for the system, and after that, it's special grade curse after special grade curse.
Yeah, true, true.
The number system is 7 deadly sins, with Dragon Ball dropped its scouters also, stuff like that. If you want to introduce a system, then use your system
Hmm.
and not discard it. Or write a system that is robust enough. I mean, should talk Hunter a lot, but Hunter introduced its NEN system and it's running with its NEN system since the beginning, basically. So it's at least a good system. I can
Yes.
give it that much credit.
Mm. I mean, in Blue Look, the setting in the NEL is kind of realistic, and it's good because you get a bidding order from the club, and your bidding order is exactly like in football. Your goals, assists, moments, yeah, and this just feels real.
Yes. But we need more bad examples. But Blue Rock would be another good example. The Neo Egoist League for a good system, I would say.
Mm.
What I also find is kind of bad example is you getting expedition dumped on. When you go into a world and then you get like 20-minute yapping about what has happened and stuff. And
Oh
you get
yeah.
the whole history of a world, but it doesn't do anything. It's nice that you have lore, but you either need to present it more sparsely or you should use it. One of those things.
Yes.
For example, imagine if the whole lore of One Piece would be presented to you in like 3 episodes back to back to back. Your head would explode.
Yes.
Besides that, everything. Do you have other things that you dislike, or
Out of my head, I couldn't say. I check my notes if I have wrote down some stuff. Yes, I have the Roman stuff, which is basically the same every time. Oh, we forgot something good. Um, Oshinoko, which has a good setting.
true? In general, I would say the musical setting is kind of nice.
Yes.
So Oshinoko is a good call for musical or entertainment setting.
Hmm. I mean, Oshinoko brings light into the shady, dark entertainment industry, which is a good thing.
Yes, and a good premise to use to tell a cool story.
Mm,
I would say same goes, for example, for Yakuza stories,
true. Yeah.
or in general assassin stories and stuff. They are also kind of popular right now.
Ninja, Gabimaru.
Yes, historical assassins, also nice.
Mm,
Then I have one last talking point, then we can conclude this episode.
okay.
Because systems are also power systems. Which power systems do you like best in terms of how they influence their world or their series?
Um,
Or which systems stand out in their series, let's say.
oh, I would say probably like not 4JK, Dandadan.
Yes. The Devil system in Chainsaw Man has also a huge influence on its world.
True, true.
Because we have basically the Cold War being fought with devils in the background.
Mm,
And how there are no guns because of a gun devil and stuff. Devil hunters existing. I think Chainsaw Man fleshed its world and setting out pretty well as well.
yeah.
I would also say a show that you are currently watching is also a good example for a setting which is nice for its world or show. It's Dead Account.
Ah, yeah. Yes.
Even though it's a typical shonen, it's being entertaining because of its setting and not its setting, its system.
Yeah.
Because it uses social media as a system, as a power system, basically.
Mm, that's pretty cool.
Got Yakuta as well, with a trash system and the jinkies, with having your personal objects as weapons. Can be
Yes.
used for nice backstories and moments. By the way, another example for a post-apocalyptic setting is Attack on Titan,
Oh, true,
if you
true.
think about it.
Ah, ah.
It starts as a post-apocalyptic setting, basically,
Yeah, okay, that's true.
the beginning.
Yes, the beginning, yes. But still Titans as some kind of power, so
Yes.
they influence the world a lot. Yeah,
Yes. So there are a lot of great powers that influence their world.
yes,
You
yes.
also have Berserk with the beliefs with where you become a sacrifice and you get sacrificed, and the person who sacrificed you becomes a god, angel, or stuff. And then the eclipse happens, and the world's getting fucked up because of that.
Hmm.
Also, at least for me, I like when historical systems, not settings, are used. They sound similar. Are used in a good way, like nobility, which I mentioned beforehand,
Yes,
or the Viking system of honor and Valhalla and Vinland Saga in the beginning. You could also say a code of honor for samurais and vagabond.
true. Basically every samurai show.
Yes. But that's personal for me as a historical fan.
Yeah,
Also, technology in sci-fi settings, or especially cyberpunk settings, where you can modify your body, become a cyborg, where you have mechs, the Gundams.
yeah, that's cool.
You have also sports systems, or in general gambling, card systems and stuff. Yu-Gi-Oh! Blue Lock you mentioned before.
Hmm.
So a lot of great stuff.
Yes.
We could mention more, but I think you got a great overview, I would say.
Yeah, we named a lot.
Yes. Then I think we could close this episode if you don't have anything else.
I want to mention Didac, and then we can close it.
Yes,
Di-
Didac and Doro have a similar style, one being fantasy and one sci-fi. Both have great and chaotic worlds.
yes, and that's cool. If it's chaotic, fucked up, I like it.
Yes. Also, I think Yua Hayashida's art style is very good with how she uses darkness. That's very nice.
Hmm.
Then, do you want to know what we do next episode?
Yes, tell me.
We are simulating how to collect a manga collection. So it's basically how to start a manga collection. We are giving ourselves 100 euros budget per month, and with those 100 euros, we are going to buy mangas. You don't have to spend all of your 100 euros. You can have some budget be carried over in the next month. There will also be sales every 2 months and other special events. And in the end, we will have, like in Mario Party, an award show where we give points or where we lose points and see who wins in the end.
Hmm. Hmm.
And because I obviously am in an advantage position, Kai gets 10 bonus points in the beginning. So a
Yay.
bit of a handicap because it won't be too easy. We will explain you the correct and not correct, the detailed rules next episode.
Like kind of like the culling games.
Yes. And we will also have a wall of text on the screen, similar to
Hmm.
cutting games or Hunter x Hunter. But it will be intuitive if you watch the episode.
Yes.
It will be quite easy to understand. So if you want to know how to start a big manga collection or a small manga collection, then this will be the episode for you. See
Yes.
you next week.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in and see you then. Bye.
Bye. So, fertig.